researching and presenting speech, I wanted to fix some gaps that I felt I had in a previous speech. I had talked about regression, and I explained regression, but I hadn't really talked about what specifically I was interested in. So I wanted to use this speech to research a bit more about regression specifically in finance, and then also try to explain what specifically I'm interested in. So I guess I'll start by explaining the source for the handout. I got this source, it's from a CFA exam prep course. I had originally thought it was from the CFA itself. The CFA is kind of an industry standard for both research papers and also an institution that controls an exam that a lot of people in finance will take at some point. So I had originally thought it was that, and that's why I do believe this sticks very close to the curriculum, so it should be a valid source, but I wanted to explain my source and why I picked it. So I guess I should talk about what specifically I'm interested in. And in finance, when it comes to machine learning and regression, my main interest would be in predicting stock prices. I would want to be able to create a machine learning algorithm that could predict prices of stocks within, like specific stocks within a certain accuracy level, to the point where you can actually make investment decisions based off of decisions made by machines. So I guess I should start by re-explaining linear regression just briefly. So for the handout, everyone has, the only thing that we're really going to be focusing on is the graph. I printed out the whole page in case you wanted a little more information. And if you want a lot more information, I have the whole 30-page paper in my email inbox. So if the talk's good enough that anyone wants that, that would make my day. And sending emails normally does not make my day. But anyway, as you can see in the graph, the points are scattered around the line, and the line is basically the attempt to draw the best fit line for the data, and that's what regression is the process of drawing that best fit line. So for this specific graph, we have the actual change and the predicted change. For this example, they use the CPI, but in this example, I wanted to actually compare it directly to stock prices. So what you could do with a graph like this is improve the accuracy of whatever predictor you're using, because what you can do is make a prediction, wait a certain amount of time, see what it actually is, and then if you plot these on a graph, if your predictions are skewed a certain way, it'll be fairly easy to tell. The line in the center will go straight through the origin and then have a slope of 1 all the way through, so it basically just goes up exactly at a 45-degree angle. The reason behind that is because if your forecasts are unbiased, if the actual increase of a stock was 2%, if it went up 2% in this time period, then you should expect your prediction to also have 2%. And if that happens, then the line will be straight through. So that is, the reason why I found this one particularly interesting was because this would be a great way to test accuracy. That's primarily where statistics comes in machine learning, is for evaluating the accuracy of your algorithm. So it would be very interesting to know whether your algorithm frequently tends to over-predict, like they predict a lot higher rises than the market actually has, or if they tend to pick lower increases than the market actually has. And then you could also look into why that might be. Is the economy slowing down? Is your algorithm overly ambitious? Is it underly ambitious? This is a very, very clean way that I hadn't really thought about before to evaluate your machine learning algorithm and figure out whether it will be what you are looking for. So I found this one particularly interesting for that reason. And another thing I was thinking about looking through this was that you could actually change your algorithm for specific things. The algorithm that I was thinking about using would work very differently depending on what specific type of company you're looking at. The valuations for different types of companies, the way you actually value them changes a lot as well. So what you could do is look at the dots that are furthest away from the line. Those are going to be the dots that your algorithm did the worst job of predicting. So what you could do is you look, and if you see all of these companies are a specific type of retail chain, then the way that your machine handles that specific company, you would want to change a lot and make it so that maybe you would even rethink the entire algorithm just based off of that. But I think that would be using specifically the furthest points away from the line could actually be really interesting. Another thing that you could do with the points furthest away from the line is, if you believe your algorithm is really accurate, you could say that these stocks, if they underperformed this line that we're going for, if they underperformed your predictions, they might actually be stocks that you would want to get rid of. So what you could do is say, in general, I'm going to want to get rid of 10% of the stocks in my portfolio and swap them out for something else. So you could look at those points and make the decision entirely based off of what your algorithm was the worst at predicting, because in theory, if your algorithm's predictions are good, even if the stock itself is not the best, you could still make a good amount of money on it because you know exactly where it's going to be. So I hope that you all found this interesting. I read through the entire thing and I thought this was the most interesting example. And I definitely learned a lot about specific uses of both regression and statistics in finance that I found very interesting. I hope you all found it interesting as well. Thank you.